Have you ever wondered if timing the market really works? There's a popular saying that's been around for a while: time in the market beats timing the market. Well, I've created this channel to put that saying to the test. Follow my progress as I place real time swing trades and compare my returns against buying and holding the S&P 500. My goal is to substantially beat the S&P 500 over the long term by timing the market. I've come up with my own momentum swing trading system to determine when I'll be in or out of the market. I'm testing various trading securities, including ETFs and individual stocks. If these securities trigger a buy or sell signal, I track the purchase or sale and record all my gains and losses over time. In this video, I'm going over the changes I've made to the portfolio since my last video on November 19th. If you haven't watched that video, I've created a playlist on my channel so you can watch each one to see exactly when and why I make a trade in a given security. Aside from the main portfolio video playlist, I'll also be making other video playlists that cover various topics such as stock spotlights, big winning and losing trades from my portfolio over time, and how I created my trading system. My goal in making these videos is to document my trading journey and hopefully inspire you to create your own trading system and become financially independent. Now, let's get into the video. Timing the market for big gains, portfolio, and watch list updates for the week of November 24th through the 28th. I made a total of 17 purchases since my last video. 9 were based on momentum breakouts, 8 were based on support level purchases. For index fund breakouts, I use a limit of approximately 15 to 20% of total portfolio value for each index. For focused ETFs and individual stocks, I use a limit of 5% of total portfolio value for each security. I hold the trade until the security breaks below the 20-day moving average. I purchased QQQ because it broke above the 20-day moving average, and the RSI confirmed the move. The thing that worries me about this trade is the relative strength against the SPY is still below its 20-day moving average, and the PPO is below its signal line. Wednesday's move above the 20-day moving average was not a powerful one with relatively low volume. So I'll be hoping for a follow through on Friday or beginning of next week. SPY appears to be a little bit stronger breakout. The ADX turned positive, turned bullish as the price broke above the 20-day moving average, and the RSI confirmed the price action. PPO still just barely below the signal line, so I'd like to see a powerful move up on Friday for additional confirmation of the trend, especially since the price is currently sitting just below that downtrend resistance line, connected by the October high and the failed rally in early November. DIA looks like the strongest looking breakout of the 3 indexes, which may not actually be a good thing. But it looks to me that DIA is trading in a uniformed uptrending channel with RSI, PPO, and ADX confirming the break above the 20-day moving average. DIA's performance against SPY since the middle of August has been about equal, which might be warning us about an upcoming bigger move down, but I'm staying optimistic for now. GLD is above the 20-day moving average and had a PPO crossover on the 26th. The price also closed above that red resistance trend line connecting the last 2 rally tops. After a slowdown in the second half of October, GLD has been outperforming SPY since the beginning of November. So I'm looking for that momentum to continue. MAGS looks somewhat similar to QQQ. It appears to have broken out the downtrending channel and above the 20-day moving average, but the PPO didn't confirm the move, and its relative performance against the SPY is hovering just below the 20-day moving average. of that indicator. So I'm hoping for a strong move on Friday or early next week. Volume over the past couple of weeks looks bearish. It's a lot of red there. So we'll see. SVIXY broke above the 20-day moving average on the 25th with performance against the SPY, RSI, PPO, and ADX confirming the move on the 26th. You might think this is a home run trade, but I've found in the past that even when every single indicator is saying yes, security will still find a way to say no. So it's still important to stay disciplined with my trading rules. And now it's testing that downtrending resistance line from the previous two most recent highs. Meta fell off a cliff at the end of October, but looks like it found support just under the 600 level I had pointed out in a previous video. Now it's passed above the 20-day moving average with above average volume, RSI, PPO, and performance against the SPY all look to be turning positive. Will Meta be able to dig itself back to new highs from here? Tell me your thoughts in the comments. I think its next stop is the 200-day moving average, around 670. Reddit recently found support at 180, blasted above the 20-day moving average on above average volume. It also broke the downtrend line going back from mid-September. Momentum indicators are all saying the move has legs. Hopefully, the market agrees. And the last breakout buy to discuss is SoFi. This trade was looking great earlier in the day on Wednesday, as the stock went from 28.71 at the open all the way up to 29.25. But toward the end of the trading day, the rally reversed. So now we're looking at a possible shooting star candlestick. I'll have to watch this one closely on Friday for a possible stop loss exit. Now, here are the support level purchases I made since my last video. I spoke about these levels in that video, so it may be an interesting watch when you're done with this video. For support level purchases, I only use 1% of total portfolio value. I will hold the support buys until the price of the security crosses above the 20-day moving average. At that point, I'll use a break below the 20-day moving average as the sell signal. It's important to note that this strategy only works when the medium and long-term trend of the security is up, or if there's clearly defined trading range. SPY fell just under the 653 level support and bounced. Could we be looking at a false breakdown? New highs from here? Tell me your predictions in the comments. Bitcoin, or GBTC, fell 35% from the October high of 99.12, down to 64.41 on October 20th. I had a support level drawn around 65.65 and made a trade when the price hit that level. So far, so good. Why do you think Bitcoin has fallen so much since October? Just normal crypto things? I'd love to see your comments on this one. XLK fell to the previous high set in August, where it broke above and then found support back in September. I was expecting that to be a pivot point, but this attempted rally since November 21st hasn't made it above the 20-day moving average, and volume has been declining over the past few days. Performance against SPY hasn't been great since the recent low, so I'm concerned this might not make it much higher. That being said, I have an alert set if it can trade above the 20-day moving average. XLRE has been trading in a well-defined range for a long time, oscillating between $40.30 and $43. I set an alert at $40.35, and the low on November 20th was exactly $40.35. Now it's trading above a short-term downtrending line and above the 20-day moving average, with momentum confirmations on the RSI, the PPO, the ADX, and the performance against SPY. This one will be interesting to watch over the next couple weeks. Microsoft hit 465 on November 24th, right at the 200-day moving average and the previous high set way back in July 2024. I'm hoping that will be a pivot point for a move to retest the all-time high at 555. Over the next few months, as we move into 2026, we'll see. Coin found the $240 support level, and there were welcome buyers as low as $231. This stock has been crushed by the recent drop in Bitcoin, falling more than 40% since the second week of October. This is either the start of a major downtrend for coin or an amazing buying opportunity. Palantir fell through the support level at 170 and immediately tested 150 within a few days. The stock is still trading above the 200-day moving average and has had an amazing 2025. Hopefully, it will end the year strong from here. It's right up against the downtrend resistance line and still far below the 20-day moving average. That either means it explodes higher and the party continues, or the downtrend stays intact on Friday and we will see another test of 150, maybe a test of the 200-day moving average, maybe even lower. The funny thing about stocks is when they start falling for a couple weeks, we start to think it'll never find any footing again and will continue to fall for the rest of its existence. That fear is what leads people to either exit their holdings for a huge loss or miss the opportunity to buy low and sell high. This is a psychological battle traders must learn to understand and control in order to make trading decisions. The last support buy we'll talk about before seeing how this portfolio compares to the S&P 500 is Vertiv Holdings, VRT. I used 155 as the support entry because I saw 3 times that it had used that price as resistance in the past. First in January, then in July, and last in September. At the beginning of October, it bounced off 155 before going all the way to 202.45. It touched 155 again on November 21st before its most recent rally attempt. Now it's touching the downtrending resistance line. So let's see what happens next week. The top 3 holdings of the portfolio are QQQ, DIA, and SPY, making up 50% of the portfolio. The rest of the portfolio is split between focused ETFs and individual stocks, 25% and 25%. The largest holdings of ETFs are SVIXI, MAGS, and GLD, while the largest individual stock holdings are Meta, Reddit, and SoFi. There's no more cash available for any purchases, so I'll have to sell something in order to buy anything else that triggers a signal. The largest gains in the portfolio come from VRT, Coin, and XHV, while the largest losses are in Monster or MicroStrategy and SoFi. Only 2 holdings have a loss at the moment. Overall, the combined realized and unrealized gain is positive 0.8% over the past 2 weeks. As we compare this total gain against the SPY over the same period, we see the SPY is up 1.14%. So the portfolio is underperforming the market by negative 0.36% over the last 2 weeks. Now let's talk about next trades, price levels, and stocks to watch. So I've set my stop losses at approximately 0.5% below the 20-day moving average for my breakout purchases and any support purchase that has made it over its 20-day moving average. As for profit targets, I'm going to let the winners ride for as long as possible and take into consideration large moves away from moving averages for possible early exits. And looking forward to possible additional entries, I see 3 highlights that I'd like to quickly talk about. SMH, Tesla, and Visa. Now, I currently have an alert set, although I don't have cash to invest or make a trade. If some cash does come out, then I'll be looking to purchase SMH at 351, Tesla at 429, and Visa at 336.50. As we look at SMH, it's trying to make up its mind, positioned just above the downtrending resistance line, and then right below the 20-day moving average. The RSI is 14. The RSI 14 is barely above the 20-day moving average, and the other momentum indicators are all untriggered. Tesla is thinking about driving over the 20-day moving average, which would most likely trigger a buy signal on the PPO, and ADX is on the cusp. And performance against the SPY is trying to turn positive again. The last ticker I want to highlight today is V for Visa. The PPO triggered and the RSI crossed above the 20-day moving average. However, the stock has been in a downtrend since June. I was 50 cents away from purchasing based on support at 317.50 on November 18th, but the move down ended at 318. There's a lot of resistance above Visa's current price, including the 200-day moving average, but this could prove to be an excellent entry over the next few months if the price can hold this level and stay above the 20-day moving average. Thanks for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm interested to see any comments you have. Remember to click the like button. Check out my channel for other videos if you haven't seen them.